Call to order the Town of Oliver Springs Waterboard meeting for Thursday, September the 5th. Roll call, Joe.
Robert Miller, Jeff Bass, Kenny Brown.
Here.
Teresa Van Hook.
Here.
Terry Holland.
Here.
Becky Devaney.
Yep.
We have 4 to 6. We have 4.
Thank you, sir. The approval of the minutes from the July 18th meeting. Do we have a motion?
I make the motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And a second by Mr. Holland. Any discussion? Any corrections, discussion? All right, if not, roll call, Joe.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Teresa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Holland,
Yes.
Becky Devaney.
Yes.
Passes.
All right, at this time, any citizen who would like to come forward, you're more than welcome to. Just come forward, state your name, and then discuss your issue that you may have. So. Yes, Mr. Clay?
Yeah.
Or, yeah, come forward. Yeah, we're good.
Clay Jordan, representing Tracy, my wife, and her sister Jamie Hall. Our water bill is really, since meters have changed, I don't know what's happened.
Okay.
But last month, the end of July through the end of August, it increased like 400%. It's never been like that.
What's the address?
306 Springs, East Street.
Okay.
East Spring Street.
Well, it's on the corner of East and Spring. It's old Hal and Mary Ruth's place. So,
All right.
I just was wondering what, going ahead and disconnecting one meter and putting another one in.
Yeah.
Is there a reference, like changing checkbooks or having an extra check register and just making sure everything carries over? I don't know why it's that high.
Yes, so
I don't know what recourse I can do.
yeah, so typically, like what we ask for people to do, when you notice obviously a large increase in your bill, just call the water department, ask them to come out and check for a leak, which with the new meters is really easy to do, which is phenomenal. I love the lower left-hand corner of your meter, it says 0.00.
Right.
Okay, and turn everything in the house off, you go outside and you look at your meter and it has something on it, like in that little lower left-hand corner.
Right, 13.2, for example.
Right, 13.2 means you have 13.2 gallons per minute going through the meter.
Right.
And so, or if you had 0.15, means obviously like a quarter of a, not even a quarter of a gallon going through it per minute. So,
So the last 4 digits are
no,
actual flow?
no. In the lower, so you have a very large number right in the middle of the screen.
Right.
But then below it, to the lower left-hand
I couldn't
corner.
ask this question from the water.
No, you're fine, you're fine. And so, it's just 4 little zeros, 0.00, and they're small numbers. And so that indicates your flow per minute. And it would read. So, but tomorrow we can have a guy, or I can go out, Corey can go out, or we can send someone from the water crew out to look at the meter. And then if there is a leak,
Well, I turned off the water and there's no, I turned off, the water in the house was turned off, but the water at the meter was turned on. There was no leak at all. And there's no evidence of water leaking underneath the house or anything.
okay.
We do a meter profile.
Okay, I was going to say, next up is what they call a meter profile, and it'll show you like an hour by hour.
Came off the
Right.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jody Berger, and
I'm John Wood.
we are at 524 First Norway Lane, and we're also echoing that sentiment as far as a dramatic increase in the price of, the bills that we've gotten in regard to water in the past couple of months. We had over the summer, we had a triple increase in the amount of consumption and the bill. My typical bills were, so that month, the previous bill was $175. It jumped up to $478. We do not have a leak. I took a photo about a month ago, took one today. As far as the small numbers, as you mentioned, they were 0.
Right.
So there is not a leak. So again, Also, we're just curious as to where these high, readings are coming from, and, as was mentioned, if there is any recourse with that.
Something I'd like to say about this, I've talked with Corey at length, but he's been a huge help. We're getting major props. But I want to point out, one of the things here for our bill that we got, one month when we were in, this was in June, we were in Laconia, New Hampshire. Well, when we were there, we're out of town for 2 weeks. So we come back, but then our bill is higher for that month than the month preceding it and following it, even though we were out of town for 2 weeks. And we've had the new meter installed, I think by then, at that point, 3 or 4 months.
Right.
Also, with the timeline printout that Corey's provided us, one of the readings, it showed at like 4 a.m., we had used like 1,400 gallons or something to that effect. We're not even up at 4 a.m. And especially 1,400 gallons, and we have to have everything that gives us water running for who knows how long to get that. What, an hour? It's just not possible. Now, having said that, I mean, I'm not laying blame on you guys, but something out there is at fault. Something's flying apart. I don't know what it is. The digital readout on it, they're imperfect. They're created by imperfect beings, as perfect as we would like to believe that they are. Corey is promised he's going to come out, go ahead and swap our meter out, and he's going to do he's talked about a listening device on that. But I just want to encourage you guys to keep an open mind. There are people that are going to come in here and they're going to try to get out of paying you. Correct. They're going to make up their dog died story, whatever. But there are people, something's going on, and I promise you, we're one of them, and you're welcome to come by any time, and you can see there's no sign of any leak anywhere.
So I will say this, I came out personally, I'm so sorry, I thought that was off. I did come out and check Charles' meter as well, and I did tell Corey on the phone, I guess, last week or this week, early this week, I said, let's do a meter swap out, and we discussed that, and, I want people to understand that I try to be a proactive guy, right? I don't hide behind, I'm a working mayor, I own a tree service, I climb 4 or 5 days a week, right? So I stay pretty busy, and I understand working people work hard to have what they have. And to feel like you're getting let down, that's disappointing, right? And so also, I'll tell you something else I did, is I reached out to Core in Maine, who is the installer for the meters, and asked for calibration data, fail rate data. I mean, because you're right, imperfect people put these things together, right? And there is a fail rate on them. Right. Nobody's perfect. So all that being said, we will work to address this situation. Late fees not an issue, and we'll get the meter changed out, and we will work diligently going forward.
And even, let me point this out too, even with the information that Corey's provided us, and I spoke with him again at length about this, for full disclosure, there was a day that we let the water hose run. However, that day does not correspond with the day on what he's listed for us. So again, that in conjunction with the readings that we've seen in the printout he's provided us, where it was at 4 a.m., 1,400 gallons, something's going on. I don't know what. I can only guess the meter. That's all we've got to tell us anything,
Well, thank you again. And
I just had one quick little bookkeeping issue. So I had paid, after the 16th, or as of the 16th, there's a late charge. So I paid on Thursday night, the 15th. And I have the screenshot that printed out. It says your payment has processed, and this is your receipt. So when I got my bill for this month, that was added on, and there was a $95 late fee along with a balance of $568. Oh, no, I'm sorry, the late fee that was included with the $95 that was part of this month. So I have a previous balance of $568. So it says that it processed, and it was a Thursday night, and it wasn't processed. So I got hit with this late fee, which was something like $89. I'm just curious why that wasn't processed.
I don't know. So we looked into that. The processing is a third-party company. We do not do that in-house. Corey, do you have more that you could share about
You
that?
did confirm, though, that that payment didn't go through.
Right.
That money was still in your account.
But the month before, I paid the day before.
Yeah, right.
And that was processed.
Right.
So, this wasn't.
So I don't know,
Anyway, those pull in batches, so they don't pull in individually.
right,
So the ladies come in the office in the morning, they'll pull the old batch report from the evening or the whole weekend. So if there's an issue with one, there should have been with multiple. So I can't explain that, why you got the confirmation receipt. I just know that it wasn't pulled in.
right.
Right, and it was a Thursday, so it wasn't like it was a Saturday night, it
Yeah.
wasn't a business day that.
Right.
So does that, to you guys, does that sound like the left hand doesn't know what the right is doing, or is it just a lag time as far as the money being transferred? I mean, what would that seem like to you?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, again, it's a third-party system
Right.
that we don't control, and
I know, I've never used it, but I know I do mine through the bank, it takes 11 days, so you just about gotta pay that bill
Really?
as soon as you get it.
Yeah. So here's another thing we talked about, was setting up ACH payments for people.
what's
And I
that?
would love to set up where people could let, ACH out of their bank accounts, just direct deposit.
Okay,
And that's something we don't do now, and I would love to do that.
well, I mean, then work it up, let's do it.
So like an auto pay,
Yeah.
but that, excuse me a second, but with that, because I mean, I have every single bill except for this on auto pay, and so I mean, just, this you don't know what it's gonna be. So, I mean, some people auto pay, it's like, okay, my such and such, my electric bill, my
Right.
whatever is auto pay, and you get the email also.
Right.
So, I know for me, I mean, obviously I'd wanna check that, but some people, they might have a huge bill and it's auto pay. So I'm just saying, I mean, I know what you mean,
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
convenient.
Yeah.
But,
Or it's just
I mean, could you imagine getting hit with $700 auto pay and you think it's gonna be
And it
150?
bounces, yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'd be hot, right?
Yeah.
So, again, we'll look into it further and investigate the matter as to why it didn't pull from your bank account. I mean, I would be clueless, I'm not gonna lie. So,
It seems that would be what Corey's talking about, would be the streamlining way to go to
Right.
eliminate this extraneous
correct.
party.
yeah,
And they're probably charging a fee on top of that,
Probably.
the
It's
city's having to
$5.
pay.
Probably.
So let's cut out the
yeah.
middleman.
So, well, thank you guys again.
Thank
so
you.
much.
So thank you for your time, ladies and gentlemen.
Anyone else have a water issue that you'd like to present to the council? Okay. So the mayor update, I don't have a lot other than, our water loss rate continues to trickle down. Just to let everybody know, when I became mayor, it was 78%, which was the second highest in the state. Where right now we're about 53%, which means we're making great gains in getting our water loss rate down. Obviously not where we want to be, but getting better. Which simply put saves the utility thousands of dollars a month and tens of thousands of dollars a year, right? And that's a priority for us, is to continue to get that down. And I will say this for people that are watching, if you have a water issue, if you notice your bill is astronomically high, please, come today alone. After we got through cutting trees, I knew of 2 water leaks that me and my crew, my guys, went out and fixed ourselves. Chief Laxton made me aware of one of them. We went to the gentleman's house, he was a disabled man, and we fixed it free of charge. Another lady here in town had contacted me yesterday, and I told her we would be out today, and that's exactly what we did. We fixed her leak. I didn't have to, but when I know there's a problem, I want to address the problem. I want to fix the problem. So, I would just ask, call the utility. We're not perfect, we're imperfect people, but when I say that this mayor loves serving, I love to help, that's what I mean from the bottom of my heart. And I think that Corey and David and the ladies in the office and people around here know that that's who I am, right? And so give us a chance. That's all I'm asking. Corey.
Couple of things we had on the table for residents, customers to pick up. Again, is our water loss numbers. Currently, again, for July, you're at 56.3%. The water rate study that compares our rates with neighboring utilities and towns is out here on the table. Again, like your inside city rates are some of the second cheapest in the county. Your outside city rates are the sixth cheapest. So I mean, you're looking at compared to Kingston, Hallsdale, Powell, Harriman, Rocky Top, Plateau, Rome Central, Watts Bar, and Cumberland. Another thing is the past 5 years, your rate increases over the past 5 years. So it shows you where your rates were back in 2020 and where we are in 2024-25. Another thing is what your billing would be. So every usage bracket is on this spreadsheet. It will tell you what your inside water rate would be, inside sewer, as well as outside water and outside sewer. Another thing in your packet that you have, the advertisement for bids has been sent out for the sewer inspection camera. The bid opening, I believe, will be September the 25th. At that time is also we'll have a pre-construction conference for the sewer rehab project that will be starting shortly after. That's all I have at this moment.
Thank you, Corey. And one last thing I would like to say, and Mr. Joe Van Hook brought this idea to me today, and I thought it was a phenomenal idea. You know, I know that this is the water board. We may explore the idea of having a water advisory committee, not a board, but a committee made up of 5 to 7 people, of people in the community. That's not an elected position, it's just an appointed position. You want it? Then, you know, that way there's more transparency in the process, there's more integrity to the process, and that way more citizens are involved in the process. That's a win-win all the way around. And that, you know, that gives more people confidence that what we do is right. So that's an idea that, you know, maybe in the coming weeks or months that we launch that. And I would encourage anyone and everyone who wants to participate, come forward, let us know.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Let me add this. The reason I suggested to Mayor Stiltner that be done is that it's real easy to complain about water and sewer rates and problems on Facebook and elsewhere, but it takes somebody to come down and do something about it other than come before this podium and complain. I played high school basketball 54 years ago, and we practiced from 2:30 to 6:30 until the season was in, and we practiced the same thing except on game day. Now you understand practicing from 2:30 to 6:30, but if you're out there running the sprints and running the drills that period of time, it becomes very real and vivid, trust me. Now, this advisory committee, I would think you would come to each water board meeting and have input into the water board. You would come to the water board budget workshops in the spring. You could tour the water plant. You would have access to the water board budget. In fact, that's public record. Anybody can get access to it. You would look and learn about the grants and the construction contracts that the water department has had. And I've been on this council since 1985, served continuously. About every 2 years we get between $300,000 and $500,000 to $700,000 in grants. It's generally an 80% grant, and we got to match it with 20 the town has. We have to comply with state and federal environmental regulations for both the water and the sewer department. During COVID, the federal government put down regulations that said the water departments throughout the United States could not disconnect water service for non-payment. And so this water department incurred, what, $400,000
Yes.
of unpaid bills because people didn't pay their bills during COVID. And people say, well, the government pays for that. Well, that's wrong. We pay for that. The ratepayers pay for that, not the federal government. See, I'm just hitting the high spots of these particular problems that these men and women have had to solve. And since I've been on council since 1985, these men and women have worked diligently and faithfully along with the water department employees to keep your water and sewer rates as low as possible. What complicates that is the federal and state government with all the rules and regulations, because they're constantly changing them and making them stricter. And if we're in compliance this year, they change them where next year we're out of compliance, and we've done nothing different. They've just tightened the standards. So it's not something that's black and white because your rates went up. Yeah, the meters might be affected and so on. What hadn't been discussed tonight is a lot of these older water meters allowed consumption of water that didn't get registered. That means the customer got free water. If these new meters are accurate, then you're paying for the actual consumption of the water. You could have water leaks. Of course, the meters might not be calibrated properly. All these things need to be checked out. But the idea is to have you, the citizen, participate in this government operation of the water and sewer department. Again, I'll conclude by saying it's easy to complain, but it takes somebody to come down here and participate. Be that somebody. Let me encourage you and be that somebody.
And to piggyback off of the $400,000 in bad debt, he is correct. That we literally had to write off just months ago, maybe a year ago, I don't know, it hadn't been long, that occurred during COVID. $400,000. So let that sink in for a second. And that affects every of the 2,200 people in our homes that we service. Everybody paid for that $400,000. Okay? Not just one person. Mr. Brown.
Just tell me, you know, with this problem we're having with some of these meters, are they still under warranty? Will they be under warranty to replace without our allotment, or we're supposed to be allotted with?
Yeah, your meters will be under warranty for 1 year.
After that, then we got to pay it ourselves, is that correct?
Yes, that would be correct. Now, they will tell you that the battery life on those meters should last 10 to 12 years. But every 10 to 12 years, you need to be looking at changing the percentage of your meters out every year anyway.
So is that another expense on the water board?
After 10 to 12 years, yes. But at that point, you start looking for grants again, kind of like you've done this same time here.
Okay, as long as they're, like I said, they're not perfect. And if there's something goes wrong, especially since it ain't been 6 months,
No.
3 months.
Some of them just been a few weeks.
Yeah, a few weeks. But just curious to know, you know, like the lady just said that she paid the bill on the 14th. How many days does it take before that check clears normally?
I do not have an answer to that.
Well, that could, you know, if it fell on the 16th, like it's on the weekend, and you know, they paid it that Monday, which is the 17th, then how would they, you know, that would keep a lot of people maybe getting up.
So the online payments are pulled in batches every morning.
Yeah.
So if it's over the weekend, they're pulled in on Monday morning, weekday, they'd be pulled in the next weekday. So any cash payment or check payment taken in the office is deposited in the afternoon of every day.
Okay. But a check, normally, once they write a check, you give a receipt, that don't mean that the water bill is paid, is that correct?
Yeah, that does mean that the water bill is paid, absolutely. But it still has to go through our bank.
Right,
And then,
right. But then when it comes back, it's a different story, is that correct? If the check comes back.
if the check does return. Now, if you get a return check, there's a $30 return check fee, and that's set by the state.
Right. But I was just curious, you know, like I said, if you pay it early, like the first of every month, and then, you know, something happens, you have time to correct it, but if it, like...
Now, if you pay by check and it's dated on the 15th, then you accept that, even if you receive that the 18th, 19th, or 20th. As long as it's dated by the 15th, you accept that.
Okay. Well, I'm just curious to know, you know, what, it takes time to clear, but once you get that paid bill, like from the office here, you're guaranteed paid.
Yeah.
And then you have another circle that goes around if it don't.
Yeah.
Something happens like with her, it didn't go through.
Right.
So what does she do then to that? Will they take that off her bill?
So the payment didn't go through, so the money's still in their account. So they thought that payment had been made.
Right.
Well, it hadn't, so when they got this month's bill, it was for 2 months, so for July and August. And then we've discussed since there was some discrepancy there, I mean, you'll give people, time to pay that where they're not have to pay $800 at one time.
I understand.
And waive their late fee.
And waive all
Late
late
fees.
fees, yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
no, that is our,
But we're working on their meter right now as well to see if there's any other type of issue somewhere.
correct. Okay, that's, I know that you're doing a lot of hard work out here, and I appreciate all the help that they've been doing, and that's all I have right now.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Ms. Van Hook?
Corey, how can we be as certain as possible that these new meters are correctly calibrated?
So that's one thing that we're getting from Core Main.
Yes.
So every meter comes from the factory calibrator. And these calibrations will come in from anywhere from 98% to 100. So they may come in calibrated, reading only 98%. I've saw a bunch of them that way. So we're getting the calibration data for every meter, every serial number that we receive.
Yeah.
So we will
But
have
if they're
that.
calibrated at 98%, that's to the customer's favor. We're eating the 2%.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's not the case, it's not going to be on the customer, it's going to be on us if it's calibrated at 98% accuracy.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to be the one that'll lose, not the customer.
Yeah.
And I do have that email, by the way. I just didn't have time to print it out.
I'm sorry, one thing. These are the dye tablets. Don't think those are candy that I've left up there for you all. I'm sorry about that. I should have told y'all that the first day. So we've got dye tablets in that you can put in the back of your commodes or your toilets now to see if you've got a leak. I just looked at those. I should have told y'all that first day. Sorry about that.
My second question was, how's the water level at Bacon Springs? It's been pretty dry.
It has, and we're fine right now. So I guess kind of the dry spell toward the end of July, the end of the 1st of August, there were, questionable issues there, but everything seems to be fine up there now.
Okay, so we're not going to have to buy any water?
We are buying a little bit of water now, yes.
Not much.
Not much, but I think last month you may have bought 5 million gallon, but you're selling back to Anderson County at Cross Bottom. They bought 3 million gallons there last month. So that's a little bit water, or purchased water from Anderson County was up in our system and right back up the mill.
Okay, and can you tell us the status of the letter that we're sending out to the water customers?
So the letter, there was an issue with the spreadsheet that had all the addresses sent out last week. I think that we got that confirmation either yesterday afternoon or this morning. So the letter should be going out within the next 1 or 2 days.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Van Hook. Mr. Hall?
Corey, I had a citizen ask about the Hermitage and Hannah Drive and the Redbud Park. Did you get a chance to see if that was?
I did not check that drain tile yet. They called it a possible leak at a drain tile around Redwood Park.
Oh, okay.
You look down through the grave and you see it running.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's kind of in a valley.
Yeah.
But it's 50 feet. The other one's over.
So the one on Hermitage, I know we fixed 2 leaks. One of them was a service tube in front of Atkins. It was actually Atkins HVAC's meter.
Yeah.
And then the meter beside it. So we fixed 2 service line leaks there. Now there is still a little bit of water coming through that culvert.
About that much.
But it has decreased. It's probably about half what the flow was originally.
Now, these water line leaks or culvert leaks?
These are water line leaks.
Possibly water line.
Okay.
They're running down the ditch, which kind of.
Yeah, it was 2 service line leaks, and we had a culvert that was kind of a hidden culvert. Hermitage?
Yeah,
Hermitage.
Hannah.
Yeah.
It's still a pretty good amount, about that much. It drops off to go.
Yeah.
Unless it's spring fed or something. I like to chime in a couple of, I'm just an electrician, but I had to become a plumber because I hate paying one, so. You may have to try to be more economical by using a 1.6 gallon commode versus a 6 gallon. That's isn't that the 2?
Yeah, 5, 6.
And if you take that meter, you flush the commode and you watch it, then you'll see 6 gallons go through and run over real quick. It's worth changing. Number 2 is if it's your flow, you'll hear it stop, fill, stop, fill. If it's your, that's your flatter.
Yeah.
If it's the float, it's gonna be the running off. You can't hear it, you see your water turbines,
Yeah.
which I just had in the coming.
And that's why we just got the case of these in today. So we've got plenty of these dye tablets available to customers. Call us, we'll bring some to you, come in and pick them up if you want.
And a lot of times you can hear it, so if you're at a loved one's house, it's hard to hear it, and you can hear it for them. And, let's see. That's about it. So, I guess it's going to be clear, the very bottom one is if you got a leak. So it's possible you're not looking at the leaks. But if you do the math, if your bill's 46, say for the month on your bill, it's 46.
That would be 4,600 gallons.
600, yes.
So it would be 4,600 on your meter, or it would still be just 46?
No, the new meters will show the actual gallons that goes through.
Yes.
Now, your bills, if you just read I guess the first two digits, which would be that's what the 46 would be.
That's something else to watch.
Right, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Hall and Mr. Delaney.
Nothing at this time.
Thank you, ma'am. No old business, new business. Discuss and possibly approve hiring Dax Mitchell as a full-time utility director as he has completed his 90-day probation period.
Dax is currently on a softball field in Panama City. But his probation period is up. Dax has taken a tremendous amount of work off of me. He's done everything that we've asked him for, and I recommend we hire him full-time.
Do we have a motion to hire Dax Mitchell full-time?
I make the motion.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Any further discussion?
Tell me just briefly, the utility director functions.
So the main thing that he's been doing for me is planning all your water sewer work out right now. I've been giving him some more of the financial stuff, mainly the grant stuff. So any of this grant paperwork, any of the grants that we get now,
Yeah.
the state has changed the amount of paperwork that's with this stuff. And I'm having to give him a lot of that. So the main thing is the planning the work. He usually spends about 3 days each week out with the guys fixing leaks, doing whatever needs to be done. Other 2 days in the office. Tuesday and Wednesday this week, he spent every day in the office answering phone calls, taking complaints, just helping with customer service.
This is a new position, is that correct?
No.
No, this is Teddy Brown's old
Teddy
position.
Brown's okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you then.
Does he have any license?
Yeah, he's got his water.
Water, and I did talk to him last week about getting sewer as well.
It'd be handy to have in case we get shit.
Yep. All right, any further discussion? Roll call, Joe.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Lisa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Hall,
Yes.
Becky Lane.
Yes.
Passed.
Thank you, Joe. Discuss and possibly approve ordinance number 2024-09-05, an ordinance to establish a one-time annual sewer adjustment for swimming pool fill-ups.
So the big thing here is policy allowing for one-time annual from January 1st through December 31st adjustment to sewer charges for residents who fill swimming pools while ensuring the integrity and sustainability of the water system. So the eligibility requirements for residents of town of Olive Springs who are customers of Olive Springs Water Department are eligible to request a one-time annual sewer adjustment for filling a swimming pool. Notification requirement. Customers must notify the Olive Springs Water Department in advance of the intended pool filling dates. This notification must occur no less than 2 business days prior to the desired fill date. Required documentation. Customers must provide the following information to the Olive Springs Water Department. Name, address, water account number, pool description, in-ground, above-ground, estimated gallons required to fill the pool, and the date and time for filling the pool. Also, an acknowledgement of the potential for a cross-connection and the need to take appropriate action to prevent cross-contamination of the pool water and the town's main water lines. This recommended method to prevent cross-connection would be to maintain an air gap between the water hose and the pool's water surface. The information must be submitted again to the Olive Springs Water Department prior to filling. Upon review and verification of the information provided, All Springs Water Department will apply a sewer adjustment to the customer's account. The amount will be determined by using an average of the previous 6 months' sewer charges. That average amount will be what is owed by the customer.
Do we have a motion to accept?
I so move.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
I second.
Any further discussion?
I'd like to chime in, the key word is call before you do it. Yeah, it's kind of the bottom line.
Yeah, so we definitely need to assimilate that information to the public, so.
Yeah, kind of a figure on what's swimming pool in all Springs, 2, 3.
The amount of pools into it?
Yeah.
There's probably quite
I'd
a
say
few.
30 or 40.
Have you got that many?
Yeah.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
The other thing, the ordinance shall take effect September 5th, 2024, the public welfare requiring it. So as soon as this is signed.
Any further discussion? Roll call, Joe?
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Teresa Van Hunt,
Yes.
Terry Hall,
Yes.
Becky Layton.
Yes.
Thanks, sir. Item C, last item, discuss and possibly approve ordinance number 2024-09-05A, an ordinance authorizing the development of auxiliary meter tap fee for sprinkler systems, yard sprinkler systems, and other non-sewer water uses. Cory.
Authorization for the auxiliary meter tap fee purpose. Purpose of this ordinance is to authorize the development of an auxiliary meter tap fee for customers who require a separate meter to better measure water usage that does not contribute to the sewer system, such as a sprinkler system, lawn irrigation, industrial processed water, pool filling, and similar usage. Eligibility: residential customers with in-ground lawn sprinkler system, industrial customers utilizing processed water that does not discharge into the sewer system, and other customers requiring an auxiliary meter for non-sewer water use are eligible to request an auxiliary meter. Auxiliary meter usage. Customers with an auxiliary meter will be responsible for paying 1/2 the charges of the current residential minimum bill. For example, if the residential minimum bill is $20, the auxiliary meter minimum bill would only be $10. So there's one thing that you can change here. You can put a flat fee in there. And say the residential minimum, or the auxiliary meter minimum bill can either be $10, $12, and leave it at a flat fee. The way I have this written, it takes into account inflation and your rate increases that happen, if they happen every year. So if the residential meter minimum bill goes up, then the auxiliary meter minimum bill will also go up, but it will still always be half of what the residential minimum bill will be. And I am fine either way we want to do that. If you do leave it at a flat $10, $12 fee, you'll have to amend this policy probably every year. And that's fine.
What's the minimum right now? Or in city, obviously?
The inside over 1,000 gallons is $15.77. The sewer on that would be $28.25, so I mean, you're looking at 40, which that wouldn't include the sewer though.
So it'd be just water.
It'd be just water. So if the minimum bill is $15.77, it would need to be half of that. The outside would be $24.69 is what your currently is, so I mean, you're half of that.
All right, council, what do you think? How you want to proceed?
I think it should just be set to go along with the minimum bill, because we're just gonna have to change this every year.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're gonna write this ordinance, then it should just, we shouldn't have to revisit this every year.
And you want to do this to benefit the customer anyway.
Correct.
So there's no sense in for a auxiliary meter for a sprinkler system for them to pay a full residential minimum bill.
Right.
And that kind of defeats the purpose of it. The other thing would be the tap fees. Your tap fees would have to be the same because you're still setting a 3/4 inch meter as your regular meter tap fees.
So do we have a motion to accept?
Also moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll say.
Second. Any further discussion? Roll call, Joe?
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Teresa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Hall,
Yes.
Becky Raines,
Yes.
passes.
Thank you, Joe.
Ordinance shall take effect September 5th, 2024.
Good deal.
Welfare requirement.
All right, all in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. So moved. We'll take 7:20, we will resume council meeting, so that's 6 minutes to use the bathroom and get water.
Yes.
Becky Raines,
Yes.
passes.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Joe. At this time, if there's any citizen in the audience who'd like to come forward and speak, please do so. Just state your name. Oh, yeah, come on. Oh, you're good. Come on.
Josh Metcalf. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here tonight to introduce myself and Kyle Petropoulos. We're with Waste Connections. We're here again to introduce ourselves as the local leadership team for waste collection in the area. I'm relatively new to the area, been in the industry for a long time, but relatively new to the area, and it's important to me to get out and put a face to local collection, to our industry, to our public service. I couldn't help but overhear in the last meeting something you said, Mayor, in terms of having a servant's heart. That's where my heart is in wanting to serve the needs of the community, and in doing so, make sure that there's also a relationship there. I know our company has had a long history with Oliver Springs, and I know our company is very, very proud to be able to provide our collection services in the town of Oliver Springs. I'd like to say, in the last few weeks, I've had the opportunity to get to know Corey Jenkins, and I really appreciated that communication and working together with Corey on solid waste matters, and I know Kyle has as well. I'd also just like to say that we're always happy to take questions and always happy to hear feedback on how we can better serve the community.
Well, thank you for being here. That speaks volumes. So, and after the meeting, I would like to speak with you individually.
Yes, sir.
If you would, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Josh, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Cecil Croson. I live at 720 Darty Road. We're preparing for the October Sky Festival again this year. Looks like we're going to have a much bigger festival than we did last year. Last year we had 147 vendors. It looks like we're on stream to have 180 plus this year. Looks like we're going to have about 200 classic cars. We expect the city to be full during our festival. If you're not prepared to attend our festival, you need to prepare to do that.
For sure. And to piggyback off what he said 200 classic cars. I think there may be 250, just saying. And also, I think, Chief, am I allowed to say this about the 5K?
Yes, all it is doing is pending approval from the central office.
Okay, so there may even possibly be a 5K October Sky Race that morning in conjunction with everything else that's going on. And it may not happen this year, but I like animal shoots. That's a secret of mine. And there's a soccer field that we might do an animal shoot next year. Just say, draw more people in.
But we do want everybody to come out and participate, everybody to enjoy themselves. For the kids,
Yes.
The police department's planning on having the bounce houses again. Also for the children. Home Depot is going to set up, and they're going to have a build session for all the children, allow them to build items. They built birdhouses a couple of months ago. So not sure exactly what they're planning on, but there'll be things for the children, things for the teenagers, things for the middle, and things for the seniors.
For sure. Looking forward to it. Excited. Thank you. Anyone else? want to speak? Nope, okay. All right. Mayor update real quick. You see the flags, the veterans flags up at the flag court going up. I think we have 10 poles, is that right, Rusty? Have already been placed, so that's 40 flags. Hopefully within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll have 10 or 12 more poles, is that right? 12? So hopefully that will round out the first 84 flags. And then there'll be some other exciting things that go on up there as well. So I was talking to a couple guys this week about what we can do. And so that's that. And again, not to beat a dead horse, the reason that has taken so long is it's not up to us. It was clearly the utility company that owns the poles, and I'm not going to say their name. I don't like throwing people under the bus, but y'all know who owns the utility poles, and they drug their feet for 4 to 5 months, and then only allowed us like 22 metal poles. Well, 22 times 2 is 44. 84 minus 44 means you're 40 short. So all that being said, we're working diligently to get that resolved. Last thing I have, and I know this has been a hot topic of recent, is water leaks and water bills and things of the nature, and people, you know, jumping on social media and you know, whether it's due criticism or fair or unfair criticism, it's criticism, right? And I want you to know personally, I work very hard in listening to your complaints and hearing your complaints and addressing your complaints. You know, I'm here, we're here to serve everyone in our district, in our town, and we want to get it right. You know, you have a council member that you can take your complaint to. You have a city manager you can take your complaint to. You have a mayor you can take it to. You have a water board you can take it to. Just know that, just like today alone, after, and I know I said this in the water board, I'll say it again, when my crew got done cutting trees today, we went and fixed 2 water leaks for 2 individuals in the town at no cost to them. Just because, again, if there was a problem, we wanted to solve it, right? We wanted to help. That's who I am. From the core of my being is to serve and to help, and I think Corey understands that. I think the guys at the water department, the gals at the water department, they understand that. And so give us a chance to make it right. If you have a leak, let's get it fixed. If you have a bill that needs to be, you know, looked at, insurance claim filed, sewer adjustment, there are multiple tools that we have at our disposal to help people with their bill. So let me be clear, okay? We want to help, let us help. With that being said, Corey.
DAV's having a karaoke dinner fundraiser Saturday, September 7th from 5 to 9 p.m. Having hot dogs, cheesy nachos, brownies, soft drinks, karaoke, and door prizes. It's $10 admission. It includes eat all you want until it's gone. That's the DAV at 530 Kingston Avenue in Oliver Springs. All proceeds benefit local veterans. The other thing was the October Sky Festival, which is Saturday, October the 19th, starting at 10 a.m., going through 4 p.m. 100 plus vendors, again, Cecil Crow mentioned. Come see Heritage at the Depot, visit Restored Oliver Springs Museum, and walk the Main Street Classic Car Show. For vendor information, you can go to the website at octoberskyfestivaltn.org. Another page that I put in your packet was an updated quote for this year as well. We're under contract with Compass Minerals to purchase 100 ton of salt again per year. Yeah, that's a per year. The other thing would be paving, and the rest in his street crew paved the end of Ridgeview. We're preparing other road cuts, water cuts around town. Starting next week, we're going to be paving every Wednesday. We're getting updated paving quotes on 2nd Norway, behind Beach Park, and then Crest Circle. And that's all I have at the moment.
All right, thank you, Corey. Mr. Brown?
Well, Mayor, you started something. Flags look great. I've got kudos, but you started something.
Uh-oh, okay.
Now, we got more to go.
Yes, sir.
And I know of at least 30 or 40 more people want flags.
Yes, sir.
And I say this respectfully. We started something and I don't know where we're gonna put them.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So
Let's have a game plan.
we do. We're working on, I told Chief this, maybe last week, because me and Chief, we talk all the time, like most times daily, most of the time. So I told him our goal is 120 flags is what I want us to be able to reach total. And it might be a little crowded out there, we get 120, but I think we got a game plan. Could be wrong, but.
I just need something to tell people.
Yes.
Where are they gonna go to do it?
And so I have, I may be volunteering my wife. She's not here tonight, I like that. My wife is a major in the Army, right? And she's faithfully served our country for almost 15 years now. And I'm pretty sure she's going to take that ball and roll with it whenever we get everything installed. And then we know that we have room for 30 or 40 more. I think she'll take the helm.
We've got that open land too down here. That,
Yes.
Before you get to it, plus
Yeah.
the picnic area will be out there too.
Correct.
I'm not saying that
Yes. Yeah.
as fuel for thought.
Yeah.
They tell people.
Yes.
Because they are contacting me and I don't know what to tell them. I said, they said they like it.
Yeah.
We want to put somebody else up there.
Yeah, good.
And I said, well, it's full right now.
Good.
So,
Good.
okay. Anyway, I've noticed down here at the end of Hen Valley Road, there, that bridge that is, it's out of service. They've been doing pipeline in there. Is there something that they're bringing in from out there at that place out at the foothills of?
I believe that's a gas line.
Gas line, gas line. Is that coming in from out there, about a big mountain?
It is, yes. So I had a conversation maybe with Jeff Patterson at Oak Ridge Utility District, maybe a month ago, 2 months ago. Yes, that is correct.
And I've noticed them down that road, it
Yes.
used to be an old railroad track going down there, coming in from Petros, I think, back years ago.
Correct.
But I don't know, they must be going under the road, because I seen where they got it.
They are, and so what they're trying to do, Jeff said that the short-term and long-term goal was to provide direct access to natural gas that will be at a lower rate or a more competitive rate, so the customers of our area will be more well-served and hopefully keep costs lower by being able to produce it and pipe it locally versus from out of state or out of our region.
So that, our pipeline now, is it gonna, like, they're gonna be a station out there with their stuff is parked there?
I'm not 100%
I'm
sure.
not sure about that either.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Well, what's the update on the garage?
So,
Haven't seen nothing.
yeah, the pad was poured this morning. Building should be up within, what did he say, two weeks?
Yes.
So the building should be up within 2 weeks. The pad was poured this morning.
Was it? Okay. Well, I didn't get a chance to go by there today to see. So, I appreciate Corey and his crew doing that little bank there at, on Parnell. That kind of, had been I don't know, hard to get the little old one-armed guy in there, I guess, from that mower. But they got it today, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, that was rusty.
Rusty.
Yeah.
But the workers did real good. I appreciate them. I say on the flags, my wife told me to make sure I told them good kudos for that. And so, like I said, it's good that I've got calls from people and they say, well, where do I get my dad in? Where do I get this dad in? And I said, well, right now they're not taking any more. And they said, why? So I'm going to say,
Well, now you know, you just let them know that you can get all of them up, and then the mayor's wife tentatively is going to take the project over, and then we'll move forward with it.
okay, well, that's good. That's all I have then.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Ms. Van Hook.
Corey, I wanted to know, do you think we're gonna be able to get those quotes on that paving for Second Norway and Beach Park done this fall?
Yes. So we have the quotes, they're over 30 days old. We didn't get them in time, so Rusty and Tony met with, I think, 3 or 4 different asphalt contractors this morning. So we'll get the updated quotes for those. We'll have those for the next meeting. And we'll get that done as soon as we can.
Yeah. That's all I have right now.
Thank you, Ms. Van Hook. Mr. Holland?
Have we got anywhere with contacting the housing authority over that first house right there?
So I have been in contact with Karen, and I believe the property owner is wanting to get a key to get back in to get the stuff. Now, I know there were some issues with that tenant and even being on that property. So yes, I have been working with Karen on that.
Well, what I'm talking about, you don't need a key, you just need a dump truck.
Trailer.
Yeah.
Have we got a codes person hired?
We do.
We hadn't officially heard it, so I'd like to hear it.
They hadn't met their 90-day probation.
Well, I mean, they're working.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's all I'm looking.
What's her name again?
Heather Sheldon.
What was that?
Heather Sheldon.
Heather
For
Sheldon.
what?
New codes person.
Codes enforcement.
Codes enforcement.
The new codes.
Oh, okay.
She's on probation.
Yes,
Some of
she
us-
is, yeah, every morning when we go to the school zone, we see her out there, so.
We're starting a new list. You'll get new blood ready to clear up. Which brings up, we got like a month, a little over fall cleanup. So start your piles, but you can't ask for better tax-paying money to be used. You pick roads out of your yard, next to the road. I'm just curious, the 4-lane going towards Oak Ridge, that's the state. Is that like Oak Ridge help supply? How does that work that can get our 4-lane paved? Do we
So-
get in line or?
TDOT's the one paving, doing the one in Oak Ridge, and we're on the list. I think the list was next year.
Yeah.
But you're probably 2 years out from having Tri-County Boulevard paved from one end of the city to the other. So, but that is a TDOT project.
Okay. Some people ask,
Yeah.
think they're getting preference. And thanks to the codes, we're starting to get progress on Rome Street, if you haven't been down through there.
Well, it's looking good. Thank you, Mr. Holland. Mr. Van?
No, not this time.
Thank you, ma'am. Chief, update? No update. Chief Bailey? Not here. Old business? None. New business. A, discuss appointing city manager Corey Jenkins to the Anderson County Solid Waste Board. Corey?
So currently, you used to have the previous city manager that's serving on the Anderson County Solid Waste Board. County Mayor Terry Frank had reached out to me earlier this week about who we wanted to appoint to that. And while my name's on there, if there's anybody else that wants to serve on that, I will gladly accept that. If not, well, I mean, I will do it.
I say no. We need him right here.
No, what does that board meet? Every quarter or yearly or monthly?
No, they'll meet monthly.
Monthly? Okay.
And what do they cover?
It's the solid waste in Anderson County.
Right now, we don't have anybody sitting on the board.
Who was on it?
Thomas McCormick.
Tommy?
So we have a motion to appoint or have Corey appointed to the Anderson County Solid Waste Board. Second.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Roll call, Joe.
Kenny Brown?
Unfortunately, I don't want to say yes, but I mean no. I appreciate that.
So you voted yes with an asterisk? Terry Holland?
Or how about Teresa?
I'll come back to her. I'll speak. Teresa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Hall.
Reluctantly.
Yes.
Becky Devaney,
Yes.
passed.
Thank you, Joe.
Can I say something on that?
Yes, ma'am.
This is a perfect case right now of where a citizen could step up
Yes.
and take some stress off of the city and serve. This is just a perfect example right here.
Well, I'll tell you what we could do, I mean, I know we could post it online and see if someone would want to step up and do it. I mean, and if no one does, then,
I'll go ahead and start filling the role.
Right.
You can always-
Corey is more
You can always change
than, more than equipped to do the job,
Correct.
obviously.
but it does give someone in the community a chance to serve.
Well, if somebody comes forward, you should have a motion second to remove him and
There you go.
or Corey could put
Okay.
in resignation and
Fair
basically
enough,
his
fair enough.
resignation.
So let's do that, and then Chief, let's post it.
Joe, I think
Social
that's
media
elected officials.
tomorrow.
I
And
think
see
it's
if we
more
have a
only for
volunteer.
elected officials.
Is there requirements?
No, just probably, no, I would say maybe, no, Julian's living in Anderson County.
We've all had to learn how to do our job, so somebody else can learn to do the job too.
That's right. So, just represent, I mean, like for instance, on the Anderson County 911 board, you know who sits in Oliver Springs' position or slot? Someone from Oak Ridge. True story, can't make it up. Okay, item B, discuss and possibly approve resolution number 2024-09-05B, a resolution approving the updated Anderson County Emergency Operating Plan. Corey.
So, Chief, I believe Anderson County updates their emergency operations plan every 2 years, is that correct?
Yes, it must have revisions looked at for every two.
So the big thing for revisions would be contact numbers and stuff like that. So this resolution is just approving the updated Anderson County Emergency Operations Plan.
Motion to accept.
I make the motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, Joe.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Teresa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Hall,
Yes.
Becky Devaney.
Yes.
Passed.
Item C, discuss and possibly approve ordinance number 2024-09-05C, an ordinance to enact traffic calming measures on the town's streets. Corey.
Whereas the town of Oliver Springs recognizes the need to enhance the safety and livability of its streets for residents, pedestrians, cyclists, and motorists, and whereas the town desires to implement traffic calming measures to reduce vehicle speeds, minimize accidents, and improve the overall quality of life in residential neighborhoods and other areas with high pedestrian activity. Now therefore be it ordained by the Oliver County City Council as follows. The purpose of this ordinance is to establish a framework for the implementation of traffic calming measures on streets within the town of Oliver Springs to enhance safety and reduce the negative impacts of vehicular traffic. Again, your objective is to reduce vehicle speeds, improve pedestrian safety, minimize cut-through traffic in residential neighborhoods, and to enhance the overall quality of life for residents by reducing noise and pollution associated with high-speed traffic. Traffic calming measures. The authorized measures, the town of Oliver Springs may implement the following traffic calming measures, among others, as deemed appropriate. Speed humps and speed tables, raised crosswalks, curb extensions, chicanes, traffic circles or roundabouts, median islands, road narrowing, pedestrian refuge islands, enhanced signage and pavement markings, radar speed display signs, speed cushions, and mini roundabouts. Design. All traffic calming measures shall be designed and implemented in accordance with established engineering standards and best practices. So, page 2. So the process for requesting traffic calming measures, the initiation of requests, residents and neighborhood associations or other interested parties may request the installation of traffic calming measures by submitting a formal petition to the town of Oliver Springs. Petition must be signed by a minimum percentage of affected property owners as determined by the town. So the evaluation process, upon receipt of the petition, Town of Oliver Springs Police Department, City Manager, or City Council can initiate the process of conducting a traffic study to evaluate the need for traffic calming measures. Study may include, but is not limited to, traffic volume counts, speed studies, accident history, and analysis of pedestrian activity. Results of that traffic study shall be presented to City Council. So community involvement. The town may hold public meetings or forums to gather input from residents and stakeholders before implementing traffic calming measures. Input shall be considered in the final decision-making process. Funding and maintenance. The town of Olive Springs may allocate funds from the general budget, special assessments, grants, donations, or other sources to cover the costs associated with the design, installation, and maintenance of traffic calming measures. Residents in the affected areas can also provide funding for installation of the traffic calming measures and the addition of multiple devices. Maintenance. The town shall be responsible for the maintenance of all traffic calming devices to ensure their continued effectiveness and safety. This includes regular inspections, repairs, and if necessary, removal or modification. Emergency vehicle access. Consideration of emergency vehicles. All traffic calming measures shall be designed to minimize delays for emergency response vehicles. Town shall coordinate with local emergency services to ensure the traffic calming devices do not impede emergency response times. The last section will be your compliance and utilities. Section 7, review and modification. The effectiveness of traffic calming measures shall be reviewed periodically by the town of Olive Springs Police, Public Works, and Administrative Departments or designated authority. Adjustments or modification to the measures may be made based on the results and review, community feedback, and changes in traffic patterns. Modification or removal. Traffic calming measures may be modified or removed if they are found to be ineffective, if they cause unintended negative impacts, or if requested by a significant portion of the affected community in which the same initiation of request steps should be followed for the removal. Ordinance shall take effect September 5th, 2024, public welfare requirement.
So we have a motion to accept.
I make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Bainey. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion?
Tell me something, they're showing this petition here, these people have signed in certain areas. You know, them ain't gonna stop speeders, it's a traffic camera. Why can't we put up a traffic camera in these zones and protect them?
I believe that Chief would be a better one to answer this, but I believe some of those are found to be illegal.
Traffic cameras,
Yeah.
speed cameras,
So speed cameras can be an option. However, it's one of those things that it becomes a civil fine, and they have had issues in court with collections on those. One of the biggest problems, and it's ready to come up to you next, is our first pilot program for this. So the past complaints that myself and the mayor have received over this past 2 weekends has been a commercial vehicle. This commercial vehicle is a 3/4 ton truck or larger. His license plate is on the front of his truck. We'd never get him.
okay, well, I understand what you're saying, but to me, you know, that'll get their attention. Bumps don't get their attention. And we'll probably get more lawsuits of somebody busting tires over these bumps.
These that we were looking at purchasing are rated for the speed limit for that street. If you've noticed, any time that you've occurred in any of your larger cities, like Spring Hill, Franklin, Myrtle Beach, a few of those places, these are actually speed tables. We don't do speed bumps anymore. So if you remember, like at crosswalks, how you drive up on it, it's about a 3-inch raise. You're going to travel for about 6 feet, and then you're going to drop another 3 inches. So it's one of those that is pretty time consuming, and it would be hard. It's rubberized, bolted to the ground. You know, I don't believe we'll have a lot of vehicle defects from it.
I mean, that to me, I want to say, is there any way we could put a flashing sign,
That is in the works to do.
that is in, because you did that out at the zones and then on different 4-lane parts too.
Yes, sir.
And to me, I said a ticket would slow them down more than anything else.
The problem is like when he said on the speed study, we done a speed and traffic study on several of these streets that we want to talk about. You're talking about one speeder every 3 to 4 hours. taking those kind of resources and putting on the neighborhood street for paying an officer for 34 hours and a patrol car to sit to get one speeder is not feasible, considering the amount of traffic we have for thefts, speeders in other locations. So this is why, when we talk to engineers, this is the best solution for a few of our streets. We may look at that for other ones, but for this street, right now, this is what is recommended by the engineers.
How many would go on the street?
So with y'all's approval, what is coming before us is we had anticipated doing one. The neighborhood has come together, and part of what we've seen in other cities to show an effectiveness from the people of the area, to show how dedicated they are and wanting it. A lot of towns are putting out that they're to incur 50% of the cost. They're to raise that amongst themselves, and it'd be a 50-50 match between the city and the people that live on that street. We have already had one gentleman come forward and says, if you'll put two, I'll pay for one. So the 50-50 is already met by one person,
About how much is one of these?
$5,000.
There's no, is that where the number you're looking at, the one that this?
Yes, y'all, if you remember, I'm not sure, Mayor, was it about 6 months ago, you had a group of people that had just moved here. They had a lot of issues. We have done enforcement measures. It's a really hard street to navigate for law enforcement and, to find any other correctable means. Talking with the traffic engineers, this is the best solution for that street. I'm not saying that this will ever be the same for every other street. We may have cheaper or better solutions, but for this one, this is the pilot program we're going to try first.
Do you know exactly where they would go on Norwood Drive?
Yes, so you would have one that we already had approval. The engineers will be in around 549. If you'll notice where there's a telephone pole and a storm grate, it would not affect any driveways for anybody pulling in, backing out. It is not on too much of an incline that they do not recommend them, because they recommend them in flat areas. There will be enough visibility from both directions to see it. The one that they're requesting is to be on the other side of the hill, closer to the Bradshaws, and where Duncan Drive comes around to Norwood. They're wanting a second there.
At Duncan Drive? Or
Well, on Norwood Drive is it Duncan, correct?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Norwood at Duncan?
Yes, they're requesting a second one there, and we've got to get with the engineers for placement on that one.
Is this the solid one or the one that's in pieces?
No, this is a solid one, 18 feet wide, because your road right there is 19 feet and like 4 inches. This will cover 18 feet across it.
So you think this is our best solution for this particular street?
It would be, and it's what comes highly recommended from the engineers. It's like Corey said, in this ordinance, we do have the part to be able to remove it, so if we put it in there and we see that it's not being effective and we come up with a better solution, then we can back up and try something else, and we can save these to reinstall somewhere else.
But what if this individual has purchased one for $5,000 and then the neighbors get upset and he still likes it?
The ordinance says that if it's deemed unsafe, it's coming up.
Now, the petitions you have, has the signatures of every resident in that neighborhood.
Okay,
And
so every
we-
resident?
Not every resident in the affected area, but we've not received any that has been against this.
I went and done a street visit, was it last, 2 weeks ago? And everyone I spoke to were completely for this measure. They said it's getting unsafe.
It is.
They've got a lot of people, that walk that route, ride their bicycles on that route. It's coming up on Halloween again, so this, I think, will solve our issue out there.
Okay.
Page 4 of your packet is the quotation. That was the cost for one would be $5,228. And if you do purchase two, Chief was able to get us a price break, so they would come up to $9,794.
So this Norwood Lane?
Norwood Drive.
Where's that now? Start.
So if you are coming up on the railroad tracks and hang a left on Edmonds at Jackson Funeral Home,
Yeah.
if you'll hang a right on Duncan, it comes around to Norwood Drive. A lot of your people that live through there is like Chris Hepler's residence, the Bradshaws, through that area.
Is that the only major area right now?
That is the only one that we're receiving a lot of complaints from citizens on, that our measures have not fixed it.
See, people use that as a cut through from like Airport Road. What was the traffic number on a day? It was outrageous how many cars
We're
go.
close to 600 to 800 cars a day.
Right, and there's not thousands of people that live in there. I mean, there's very few, and to have 700-800 cars was just outrageous.
It's a cut through to Food City.
It is.
And it cuts you off, you can go through there and don't have to go through the school zone.
Right.
There's a whole lot of reasons to go through the
Yes, there is.
neighborhood.
Yep.
I do. But I'd rather just
So do we have a motion to?
Wait.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
One other question, I'm sorry. On section 3, Corey, number 1, it says signed by a minimum percentage of affected property owners as determined by the towns. Do we need to determine a minimum percentage tonight to add to this, to save problems later? Having to come back and revisit this?
Chief, you have a recommendation?
Most of the lease require 70 to 80%. That will be basically for y'all politically, because what is going to happen is if we put one in and you have one or two people that are not happy with it being on their street, how much flack are y'all willing to receive that they're against it? So that's basically where I would say determine how many people can stop a project. You know, do you think that 30% of the street, 20% of the street, you know, what would it take to overweigh the public safety on that street?
Well, Norwood Drive is in my ward.
I would think 75%.
I would like you to recommend, you think 75%?
The court of law looks at, and of course, Your Honor can bring into this, 51% is what it would take for us on our end to sway the decision, because the greater good is safety for your citizens. So I feel like if the majority would want it, that's all that would matter to me, and that would be 51%. However, a lot of the towns politically, and understanding that you're going to have a lot of citizens upset, raise that percentage up higher. I really don't have a recommendation, because that would be what you would carry on your shoulders, not mine.
Corey, you have any further input?
I mean, I don't know at the moment. I mean, that's something that we can, I mean, you can pass it as is, and we can go ahead and do some more investigating on that.
What's the cost going for? How's that coming to your budget?
It is not. It is going to be out of undesignated funds.
Do we have money to do it?
Yes.
This is a brand new project, so it's not anything that we incurred for budget time. This is, you know, if you vote on it tonight, this is a brand new program that we would then budget for next year in the new ones, but however, this one would be approval through undesignated.
You make a motion second to pass an amended resolutions, and on that particular line, put in your percentage 51 or 75 or whatever percent you wanted to do. And then Corey could put it in his computer and print it out tomorrow
What do you all think?
if you want to
You
pass
think
it tonight.
51% or do you think 75%? Mr. Brown, what do you think?
I'm for a traffic light, or a radar.
But if that's not an option, what do you think?
Yeah.
Oak Ridge had one and the public pressure eventually forced them to take it down.
Yeah.
They had 2 or 3.
It slowed people down.
Okay, then I just make the motion that we amend this to say 75%. Are you good with that?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. Do we have any further discussion? Roll call, Joe?
Okay. Kenny Brown.
Yes.
Teresa Vanderman.
Yes.
Barry Hall.
Yes.
Becky Devane.
Yes.
I'm sorry to wake you up, Terry.
No, I was trying to see here.
Item D, discuss and possibly approve ordinance number 2024-09-05D, an ordinance of the town council amending sections 11-301 and 11-601 of the Oliver Springs zoning ordinance and adding a new section 11-616, the effect of which will be to create a new zoning district for transitional housing. Now, just to FYI, I hope that you all will pass this tonight with a motion and a second and roll call. And then come next month, we will amend this with tighter controls, okay? So don't think that we're not doing our diligence. We are. We're trying to get something on the books. This was performed by Harriman, written by Harriman, all the legalities, and along with Roane County. So this is tried and true, and this puts a good control in place. And then again, in next month, we can tighten the controls. And so, but I don't want you to think, well, we just did that. Yeah, we did. And then we revisited it and we made it tighter. Okay? So with all that being said, Corey, I apologize.
No, that's pretty much explains everything. Toward the bottom now, there will be an enacted by Town Council of the Town of Olive Springs. Section 11-301 Olive Springs zoning ordinance is amended to include the following terms and definitions: transitional housing. Supportive yet temporary type of housing accommodations meant to bridge the gap from homelessness to permanent housing by offering structure, supervision, support, life skills, education, and training. Included with definition of transitional housing or halfway houses, homeless shelters, domestic violence shelters, and indoor emergency shelters. You've got 3 different levels of transitional housing that's listed below. Page 2 kind of just hit the highlights. So your current classifications and districts, your residential, your R1, which is your low density, your R2 is your minimum density residential, R3 is your high density, and then your CR4, which would be your community residential, which you are forming here. Then you have your commercial, your C1, C2, C3. Industrial, your M1s, your light industrial, M2s, medium industrial, M3s, heavy industrial, and then your F1, F2, F3, which is your flood hazard districts. Basically, this just defines what a CR4 community residential facility is. Page 3, this gets into the regulations of your setbacks. Currently, these are the same setbacks as like an R1. This is one of the things that were discussed, to possibly tighten up the regulations here, as well as the lot size and structure heights. So right now, everything is pretty much the same as your R1s.
All right. We have a motion. Thank you, Terry. Second. Second, Mr. Van Hook. Further discussion?
I've got the queue to find out on I'm good with it, this definition of the 35 feet high, if that counted the basement or not.
Yeah, and I'm sure that was something we will check on. I've got that highlighted. I think the way that reads right now is from 35 foot from ground level, meaning probably 2 floors, possibly 3 floors. I guess that would be 3. But the question was asked, does that include the basement as well? The basement plus 2 floors. So that's some clarification we've got to need to address at the next planning commission meeting.
Is this something that the housing authority is going to take over and pay for, or is it individuals?
No. So this is for like halfway houses, basically. Like if you have completed a drug rehab program and then you're trying to be transitioned back into the general population, so lack of a better term, it's a halfway house.
Is that not the same thing as that after road out there across from Job Tire?
That's a treatment center.
Correct. It's different.
Yeah,
That's a
women's treatment. Yeah, treatment center.
Isn't that the same?
Technically, no.
No.
Technically, no. But yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I guess the lawyer in me looks at this and says we could pass it tonight, but if you look on page 2, section 2, 11-601, you have CR4 community residential facilities. On our zoning maps, we have different colors for residential and multifamily residential and so on. I see nothing in this that sets out exactly where the CR4 zoning district housing would be allowed. And that's not necessarily unusual because it's the first time we're discussing it and that sort of thing. But I would assume someone, maybe Corey or the Planning Commission, would have to select areas of the town that would be this particular district. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see, we don't have a zoning map yet, so if we pass this, and I want to go to, say, where my brother lives, and he's not going to live there anymore, and I'm going to create a halfway house, this ordinance is there, but it doesn't tell me where I can do it, so I assume it will be legal there on Rome Street. Notwithstanding this, now, if you had your Yalley area in some other location, then obviously I could possibly do that. So you've got no area where this type of housing is permitted as of now, no area on the maps anyway. You may be having contemplation, and that may be the next ordinance at the next meeting.
So what that ordinance does here is that resident or whoever would have to file an application. That would go before the planning commission.
Correct.
The planning commission would then designate a
Okay,
C4 area.
Yes.
So
Now,
you
you're
don't have to
aware-
designate, because right now, if this was to happen, it can go anywhere beside any house.
Okay, well, see, that answers the question. If I want to do it on Rome Street, I have to go before the planning commission, and then they would pass it, council would pass it, and then we'd color that area yellow, or whatever color.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you all are aware that any facility that's in existence now would probably be grandfathered in.
Yes, but I think it has to be re-permitted yearly, if I'm not mistaken, under this, the way Brooke explained it to us, which is the planner for Long County. So, but yeah, I believe you're correct, Joe.
So has the planning commission seen this?
Yeah, the planning
Yes.
commission has
Yeah, we
passed
passed
it. It's approved.
So the planning commission has approved this?
Yes.
Will we be under any kind of violation, any laws if we say no?
If you say no to this?
Yeah. We say we don't want it?
Well,
Yeah.
if you say no right now, that you can have a halfway house in any subdivision in this town, there's nothing can be done about it.
If we say no,
If you say no to
If
this
you,
right here.
right, if you vote no on this ordinance, a halfway house can go anywhere, any street, any subdivision, at any time.
But doesn't it have to go before the planning commission?
they voted no.
No,
It does not have to go before the planning.
not right now.
I think he's saying, tell the people no.
After this goes into effect.
No, he's just saying we can just turn them down, I think what you're saying.
Yeah, well,
So technically, you can't, legally, you can't turn it
That's what
down.
I.
Correct.
I think
Legally, you
that's-
cannot.
That's the creation of the CR4.
Right.
And that's where your control comes in.
Right, yeah,
The control is to allow the creation of a particular zone.
yes. That is reviewed on a case-by-case basis.
can the people that's in their neighborhood have a say-so?
Yes.
Absolutely.
We're leaving that open, is that what?
Yeah.
Yes.
Leaving that open.
Yeah.
The people-
Where in the ordinance does it say they have to apply on a yearly basis?
Well, that would say that in this ordinance, that would be just more over your regular zoning ordinances.
Right.
Well, what I'm saying is that, for example, my father and Bill Sharp had commercial operations on Rome Street. Bill had the funeral home begin in about 1938, and Dad was medical office there in 1949, I guess. And when we had the zoning, all it was on residential, but both businesses got grandfathered in, along with Dr. Stone's dental office and some others. They didn't have to apply for permits every year, they were simply grandfathered in. And when he retired, then probably no other doctor could open an office there, it had to be residential. But reading this, I see nothing that says that they have to apply every year. If that be the case, they would be grandfathered in.
So, do you have any in town now?
Well, I don't know that. I think there might be one over the old drugstore.
And it's in a commercial, it's already in a commercial
Okay,
zone
see
area,
that?
it's not a residential.
Okay, but what I'm saying though is that if you going to require them to apply each year, question I ask is, if they're already grandfathered in, could you put them out of business could you lawfully put them out of business by requiring them to apply every year? And see, I don't have the answer to that offhand.
And I don't know the answer to that either.
And see, lawyers don't necessarily know the law, but they know where to look for it.
Yeah,
And that would be something that the city attorney or MTOS would have to research.
yeah.
On the other hand, if certainly somebody wanted to come in new and you had to fill an application, any new businesses like this or homes like this, you could require them annually.
Yeah, understand.
And I don't mean to be adversary, but I'm calling this to your attention. Because this could be a possible loophole or a possible weakness or even a possible strength when I'm looking at it.
So could it be something that we take up at the next, like?
You could pass this tonight.
Right.
And then have an amendment at the next meeting.
Right.
But see, the question I ask is if someone is already in business in a residential area, could you put them out of business by requiring them to apply the next year
Right.
and then turn them down?
Yeah, that'd be a
I
couple
don't
of
know the answer to
questions.
that.
Would be,
Yeah.
yeah, we can take it to Brooke.
Also, from a cost standpoint, it says that this ordinance shall be published in 10 days after passage in Rome County newspaper and Oxford News Sentinel, which are newspapers of general circulation. So I assume that if we pass this, we got to publish it based on the ordinance. If we amend it, then we got to pass it, we got to publish it again.
Correct.
And I don't know what the publication costs are. If it's $2 or $3, it wouldn't matter. But if it's several $100s, then my question is, if we have to publish it and pay several $100, let's pass it once.
That I do not know the answer to, ain't gonna lie.
And I'm just trying to save the town money.
How's it affecting, this has come out of Rome County, and the biggest majority of our cities in Anderson County. Now, are they gonna come in and have a 2 cents worth to say?
Anderson County would not, Anderson County building inspector would not come within the city limits of Oliver Springs. The way this works is that the Oliver Springs, town of Oliver Springs has a building inspector that we have hired to come from Rome County. So when the building inspector lady comes into Oliver Springs, she wears the clothing and the uniform and so forth of Rome County building inspector, but she's actually wearing the hat as the town of Oliver Springs building inspector.
It doesn't matter if it's Morgan County too, right?
Anywhere within the city limits of Oliver Springs. And see, that avoids us having to pay a part-time building inspector or a full-time building inspector. Because we may not need one for several months and only need one for 2 or 3 days. Is there a pressing need to pass it tonight?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, pass it tonight then, about the bullet.
So we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, Joe.
Kenny Brown.
I don't like it. I'm gonna say no.
Okay. Teresa Van Hook.
Yes.
Terry Holland.
Yes.
Becky Devane.
Yes.
Passes 3-1.
Thank you. Last item, discuss and possibly approve ordinance number 2024-09-05E, an ordinance establishing policies for the use of credit cards and gas cards in the town of Oliver Springs. Corey.
So one of the findings from your comptroller investigation was you did currently have a credit card use for a credit card gas card policy. So whereas the town of Oliver Springs recognizes the need for clear policies governing the use of credit cards and gas cards issued by the town to ensure proper and efficient use of public funds, and whereas the town is committed to maintain transparency, accountability, and fiscal responsibility in all financial transactions. Now therefore be it ordained by the town of Oliver Springs City Council as follows. The purpose of this ordinance is to establish guidelines and procedures for the issuance, use, and management of credit cards and gas cards by town employees, officers, and officials to ensure that such cards are used solely for authorized and legitimate town business purposes only. Section 2, your authorization for issuance. The town of Oliver Springs may issue credit cards and gas cards to designated employees, officers, and officials for the purpose of conducting town business. The city manager and finance director shall authorize the issuance of these cards. Cardholder agreement. All individuals to whom a credit card or gas card is issued must sign a cardholder agreement that outlines their responsibilities, the terms of use, and the consequences of misuse. Permitted uses, credit card. Town-issued credit cards may be used for the following purposes: payment for travel and related expenses authorized by the town, Purchases of goods, services, and supplies necessary for town operations when purchase orders are not practical, and emergency expenses when timely payment is essential to town operations. Now highlighted in black, purchase order numbers must be obtained before a credit card purchase can be made for the town of Oliver Springs purchasing policy. Gas cards. Town-issued gas cards may be used solely for the purchase of fuel and related vehicle maintenance expenses for town-owned vehicles and equipment only. Use of the cards for personal vehicles is strictly prohibited unless specifically authorized for emergency situations or when conducting official town business. Prohibited uses, page 2. Personal use, the use of town-issued credit cards or gas cards for personal expenses is strictly prohibited. Any personal use, whether accidental or intentional, must be reported immediately, and reimbursement of the town must be made promptly. Unauthorized purchases, credit card and gas cards shall not be used for unauthorized or unapproved purchases, including but not limited to cash advances, personal entertainment or leisure activities, alcoholic beverages, purchases unrelated to town business. Cardholder responsibilities. Documentation. Cardholders must retain and submit all original receipts, invoices, and related documentations for each transaction. The receipts and invoices must be signed, dated, and cost code provided when turned in. This documentation must be submitted to the utility office manager, finance director, city manager, or a designee determined by the city manager within 2 business days following the transaction. Security. Cardholders are responsible for safeguarding the credit card or gas card assigned to them. Lost or stolen cards must be reported immediately to the utility office manager, finance director, or city manager. Monthly reconciliation. Cardholders must review and sign their monthly credit card or gas statements. Any discrepancies must be reported and resolved promptly by the utility office manager, finance director, or city manager. Section 6 is oversight. Finance and utility office department responsibilities. The finance department and utility office shall maintain records of all issued credit cards and gas cards, monitor usage, and conduct regular audits of transactions to ensure compliance with this ordinance. Finance department and utility office shall provide a monthly report of all credit card, gas card transactions to the city manager for review. Auditing. The town shall conduct periodic audits of credit card and gas card usage to ensure adherence to this ordinance. The results of these audits shall be reported to the city manager and the board of aldermen. Section 7 gets into consequences of misuse, disciplinary action. Any misuse or violation of this ordinance by a cardholder may result in disciplinary action, including but not limited to revocation of card privileges, reimbursement of unauthorized expenses, suspension or termination of employment, legal action if warranted. Last page, you just get to the reimbursement. Cardholders who made unauthorized purchases or who cannot provide proper documentation for a transaction shall be required to reimburse the town for the full amount of the unauthorized purchase. Card cancellation. 1, voluntary cancellation. Cardholders may voluntarily surrender their credit card or gas card at any time by notifying the city manager and returning the card to the finance department for utility office. Mandatory cancellation. Town reserves the right to cancel any credit card or gas card at any time with or without cause. The reasons for mandatory cancellation include but are not limited to changes in employment status, violation of this ordinance, or inactivity. Ordinance shall take effect September 5th, 2024, public welfare required.
Any questions?
On the personal vehicle, this specifically authorized, that seems kind of open. Do they have to ask your supervisor? Is there a... This should be...
Bottom of page 1, gas card, town use of gas cards for personal vehicles is strictly prohibited unless specifically authorized for emergency situations or when conducting official town business.
One emergency, one guy may be different from another one.
So you could add use of gas cards for personal use is strictly prohibited unless specifically authorized in writing.
Yeah, something like that.
For emergency situations or conducting official business in writing.
From the supervisor.
Or you could even strike that whole thing.
Either have a full PO on it.
Well, you have to have a PO, I mean, you need to do that. The cleaner thing would be to just drop that completely.
And it's not putting none in it, a personal vehicle. We got plenty of vehicles.
Good.
Where
Well, the only thing I'm thinking is like Ramona's gone right now to a conference. But she could always turn that in as an expense
She
too.
does, yeah.
And we could reimburse her.
And you do, and that's kind of the process for that. And that's kind of where I would like to leave that option in there.
You know, if you turn it in later, she's using her personal.
She is.
Card, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's worded that way.
Yeah.
That way if you pull a fast one.
And I mean, I would rather have that there.
That would cover both.
But again, on through the ordinance, I mean, you're turning the receipts in, and I mean, you're monitoring the usage and stuff.
But the auditors would be happy with this language.
Yes, we would. Yeah. Well, comptroller.
Right.
So do we have a motion to pass, or a motion and a second?
Make a motion to accept it.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
I make the motion, and where you said there, under number 2, we're on page 1, authorized in writing when conducting official town business.
Okay.
With that addendum. Second.
Any further, so we have a motion, we have a second with the change.
Does the maker of the motion agree to change?
Are you good with the?
Yes, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah. Any further discussion? Roll call, Joe?
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Teresa Van Hunt,
Yes.
Terry Hall,
Yes.
Becky Delaney.
Yes.
Item F, discuss and possibly approve ordinance number 2024-09-05F, an ordinance establishing a limited English proficiency policy and procedures for the town of Oliver Springs Court.
Basically, this is based off your Title VI, your Civil Rights Act of 1964, which prohibits discrimination based on race, color, or national origin in any program or activity receiving federal financial assistance, and requires recipients to take reasonable steps to ensure meaningful access to programs and activities by individuals with limited English proficiency. Your big thing on the back is your procedures that you hear. So this is the procedures, and this will be in the utility office and the, I guess, the court office. So in the event that someone with limited English proficiency comes in, this is the policies and procedures that need to be followed. So procedures will be identifying the LEP person, their language. It also has procedures for how to handle those services and in-person telephone encounters. And then a procedure for obtaining a qualified interpreter. So the numbers, names and numbers for the organizations that handle these are on here. If you look at the bottom of page 3, if staff members not available or qualified to interpret, then use the VAZA Language Services Corps, that's AVAZA, or Linguista International. Page 4, this is for telephone interpretation services. Again, that's the same, the VAZA Language Services and the Linguista International. It's just, like I said, it just details how to deal with an LEP encounter.
So basically what they do is if someone comes in and speaks a foreign language that they can't understand, they call one of these services.
Yes.
And they literally can translate.
Yes.
All right, so we have a motion to accept.
Make the motion.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, Joe?
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Teresa Van Hunt,
Yes.
Terry Hall,
Yes.
Becky Delaney.
Yes.
Thank you, Joe. Last item. Discuss and possibly approve ordinance number 2024-09-05G, an ordinance establishing compliance with Title 6 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 for the town of Oliver Springs.
So every so often you want to update your Title VI policy or your ordinance. This is it. Again, your Title VI Civil Rights Act 1964 mandates no person in the United States shall on the grounds of race, color, or national origin be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any program, activity receiving federal financial assistance. Now therefore be ordained by the Oliver Springs City Council as follows. The purpose of this ordinance is to affirm the commitment of the town of Oliver Springs to comply with the Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and to establish procedures to prevent discrimination on the basis of race, color, and national origin in all programs, activities conducted or funded by the town.
Any questions, any discussion? So we have a motion to accept.
I'm like,
Thank you, Terry. Second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Roll call, Joe.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Teresa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Hall,
yes.
Becky Devaney,
Yes.
passed.
Two last things real quick. The last thing in your package, your purchasing policy. You got your current, your chapter 9, this is your current purchasing policy out of your municipal code. The second page is a draft ordinance, new purchasing policy. So what you need to look at is your current ordinance, your purchase levels. Do you want to keep those the same? Do you want to adjust those? Probably for the next meeting, I will put together some recommendations on the purchase levels. And then if you've got any questions or anything needs to be added to that, the draft policy, get with me over the next week. The second thing would be, we did not, the petition for the purchasing the speed tables on Norwood Drive, I think we need to go back and, I recommend we proceed with this project.
Yeah, we passed the ordinance. We didn't pass the approval of purchasing the actual speed table.
Okay, the city would only be paying for half of one of them, correct?
Yeah, we would just be purchasing one, and the resident would be purchasing the other.
Correct.
Or a group of residents would purchase the second.
Well, it'd probably have to be billed to the city to avoid sales tax.
It would. We would make the purchase. and
So the ordinance, or the motion would read that we would purchase 2 of these for $9,700, whatever it works out, with the understanding that a local citizen would give us $5,000.
Correct,
Yes.
correct.
I was of the understanding that the other citizens were paying for half of the second one.
No. We'd pay for one, they'd pay for the second, so it would essentially be half and half.
Where are we gonna pull this from in the budget?
So there is still funds in, you actually have 2 capital projects. I was checking the State Street aid, that was the last thing I was looking at about pulling out of that. Now, you do have money in the street capital for this, so there's money there, or when you've been brought to.
Do you happen to remember how much is in State Street aid right now?
I don't,
I don't either.
I do not. And that, the next council meeting, we'll plan on getting back on our schedule, having
Yeah, we need to see
the
the
financials. Yeah.
I thought the chief said this is coming out of some other fund.
No,
We were looking at undesignated funds, if it's not found from the line item that he can find.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So do we have a motion to purchase?
I make the motion that we make the purchase of the 2, for the materials for the 2 speed bumps, or whatever you call them.
Speed tables.
Thank you. I'll
So,
second that.
second, motion second, any discussion? Roll call, Joe.
Let's see here. Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Teresa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Hall,
Yes.
Becky Devaney, passed.
Thank you, Joe. Just one last word from the mayor. Back on the fuel cards, this guy doesn't have a fuel card for the city. So I gracefully declined mine when I became mayor, and everything I do for the city, I pay for it out of my own pocket. With all that being said, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.